Let's talk about capitalism. I've been seeing a lot of stuff online about how capitalism doesn't work, how there's a system against you, how the average person cannot use capitalism to achieve and to build. And I began to think, I use capitalism to start not one, not two, but three multi-million-dollar businesses. I was born poor. I didn't have a network that aided me in building these businesses. So why is there so much confusion about capitalism? And I think I have a core reason why there are so many people that don't think that capitalism works. Number one, let me kind of go back and talk about an incident. Someone made a video calling me a sexual predator, right? And a bunch of people this was a few years ago, a bunch of people will come back and say this exact phrase: "You are a sexual predator. Why are you still on YouTube?" Let me say that again. You are a sexual predator. Why are you still on YouTube? You've harmed children. You've done bad things. You should be in prison. And they keep saying this stuff to me, and it kind of dawned on me. They think there is an authority, a committee that gives us the ability to achieve. Even though you can start a YouTube channel, you don't need anyone's permission. You don't need anyone's authority. This is about the Royal Prince program. Let me show you everything that's included in the program and the things that you can do and get set up. So let's go ahead and click into it so you can see what you're getting when you sign up for the Royal Prince program. It's $1,500. Now, the thing that you get, the YouTube book, $150, that's part of your course. You get the YouTube course, which is yet to be started, but that's part of your course. You get the Sales Guide book, that's done. You get Unlock the Power of ChatGPT, a lot of stuff is there. Then you get the Sales Guide course. Then you get Permissionless Wealth, a book that's done. Then you get, let's get into it, Permissionless Management, the book about hiring. And then you get the Royal Prince program right there. We get into this. Now, let me go ahead and explain to you all of the stuff about how to remap your money management habits. That's the first part of the program. That will literally take you months to do, months to go ahead and get that situated. Then we will get into the business building concept, and then we'll get in the setting up of holding companies and operating companies. But that's further down the road. First thing you got to do is get your money together and manage your money correctly. And that's what this course will do. Plus, anything I develop going forward, I'll just include in the course for free. So you get free training, additional training as it comes available. So this is what's happening. This is the Royal Prince program. But for some reason, these people feel that there's an authority in place that allows me to be on YouTube versus self-direction. Now, let me go ahead and put this in the package. You have the same belief when it comes to starting a business. Someone must validate you. Someone must approve. Someone must help you. If these are your core beliefs, then capitalism won't work for you because you have a mindset issue. You have mental pathologies that prevent you from using and exercising the vehicle of capitalism. And I really begin to think about that because literally, the comments have died down, but I'll still get these comments like, why are you still on YouTube? As if there's an proven authority. If you have a Gmail account, you can start a YouTube channel today. There's no authority. There's no approving board. There's nothing. But I heard this story. I don't know if it's true, but I heard this story that if you put a restraint on an elephant and leave it on for a while, then you take it off. The elephant still thinks he's restrained, even though the restraint is gone. Don't know if that's true, but I've heard that story. So let's talk about mental restraints. Someone put up a comment, talk about how there's racism, there's this that keeps people from starting businesses. I remember years ago, I went to Chase and I applied for a line of credit and I got a $150,000 line of credit. At no point when I went in to apply for a business line of credit, I've never applied for a business loan, but I applied for a business line of credit. I've never was rejected. I never had any issues. But once again, this is my financial literacy. I always know if I'm going to approve for the credit card or something before I approve, because for years, I don't have it anymore because I've actually moved into more of a cash position. But I used to have something called myfico.com where you see your real FICO score and you have your real credit report and you have your real number of inquiries. And with just a little bit of research, you would know if you're going to get that credit card, that car loan, or that house before you even apply. So that was my situation. So I think a large group of people have mental restraints, not actual social restraints or society restraints, but they have mental restraints that prevent them from taking action and starting a business. Because capitalism works. I mean, I will say when I got out that boarding house and I started a job at Rent-A-Crate, that was huge because it introduced me to a new network. And the network opened my eyes and my network helped me, but the network had nothing to do with me starting a business. Actually, one of my friends told me that I should not sell furniture for this other company because that could get me in trouble with my job. I was like, I didn't care. I went ahead and sold the furniture and kept my job and quit on my terms. But capitalism works. Capitalism isn't evil. Capitalism isn't the system. And this is another area that people get into problems. Let's go back with storage auctions. Everyone, I watch storage auction videos and everyone is all hyper about getting them their stuff back, returning their awards, returning their birth albums. They're hyper on that, right? Let me tell you, as someone who did storage auctions, I remember I bought this unit in Acworth, which was an hour and a half away from where I lived. And there was a bunch of personal stuff in there. There was baby stuff. And I actually took it all the way back to Acworth to the office. And the next time I went to an auction 3 months later, that stuff was still sitting in the office. And then I went back to another auction 6 months later, that stuff was still sitting in the office. So there's the social pressure of what you should do, and there's the reality of what really happens. And this is a big issue with people starting a business. I've heard all kinds of crazy stuff like you need a loan, you need a network, or business credit. Now, you will not see a lot of content from me about business credit because I've never started a business with business credit. I didn't need it. I always had cash. So the whole point of capitalism, going to these social constructs that people put in their own brain. They put these social constructs in their brain. These are self-identifying constructs. I want to say they make them up. They fall into a false narrative of how capitalism works, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, all this other stuff. And I'm here to tell you capitalism is really important. Now, here's another area that I was about to get into. Many people feel that it is oppression to run a business and to hire employees and pay them less than you're making. Many people feel that, let's just go ahead and say, you have a business that's doing $250,000 a month in profit. And many people feel that you should go ahead and give this profit to your employees. It's like 250, you should just go ahead and split it up and pay everyone equally. right? That's a big thing. There was a guy who owned a merchant company. He actually started paying off his employees $75,000. Then I think he got in some trouble. But here's the thing. I have a jewelry business, right? And the jewelry business isn't profitable. I'm about $25,000 in the hole. So there are no bonuses, there's no spiffs, because I am still in the hole. Once we can become profitable, I'll start putting out bonuses. But here's the thing. Those employees, did they contribute any money to the business? No. Did they contribute any time to the business? Paid time only. The only time that they contribute time to that business, unless they're a rare, exceptional employee, was the time that they were on the clock. So the only time I got something out those employees was when they were working and getting paid. Key point, paid. So why would I go ahead and bless these people with extreme bonuses because my company's making money? Many people feel that capitalism is a level of oppression because of the way it works. I, as a business owner, will take, say, $100,000 of my money, start a business, and then in a matter of months, my business is doing like $150,000, $200,000 a month in profit. And there are many people who feel that I should give it to the employees. Let me explain to you what happens when you start giving people who are financially illiterate a lot of money. They spend the money. So it's not like they would take this money and go like, gee whiz, I'm going to go ahead and knock out my Roth IRA. No, they're not. They're going to go out and blow the money. They're going to get a nicer car. They're going to get nice clothes. They may get a nicer apartment, or they may upgrade their house. That's what they're going to do. They will not invest. They will not hold. They will not save the money. So that's just talking about what will happen if you gave them the money. But here's the key. The key thing for you to understand if you want to deploy capitalism. It's a permissionless thing. No one gives you permission to start a business. No one gives you permission to start an LLC. No one gives you permission to start up corporate banking. No one gives you permission to get that EIN. All this stuff is self-directed. And that's the thing you got to get in your mind. It's self-directed. No one tells you. No one watches you. And and this is the thing. No one stops you. No one stops you from making that LLC. No one stops you from setting up your corporate banking. No one stops you. But you may stop yourself because you're sitting on a bunch of false social narratives that you've not fully investigated. I mean, I see it every day in the comments. I see it. Like there was this conversation on the North Stars, a YouTube channel, had the middle class against millionaires. And the middle class was saying there were systematic things in place to prevent them from getting wealth. I furiously disagree. There's nothing getting in the way of me getting rich. There's nothing in the way of me building a business in Ireland. There's nothing. There's nothing. But once again, many people have these social contracts where they think this stuff is actually going on, and it creates a barrier that prevents them from being successful as they could be. So capitalism works because I look at it. Here's my background. I grew up in a house that did not have a bathroom. I remember when they put the bathroom into our house. We had an outhouse. We had to leave the house, go out the back door, go through the garden to the outhouse. That's the house that I was born in. I remember when they put the bathroom in, I was about 10-ish. I do believe my grandmother was still alive. Yes, she was still alive when they put the bathroom in. And I remember we had a bathroom, we had a tub. And this is the thing. I was unaware that that wasn't normal. Because that's just the way I grew up. That was just, and we did not have a water heater. We did not have a bathroom or water heater. You know how we took a bath? We would take a pot of water, put it on the stove, heat it up in the stove, and we had this huge galvanized tub that I would get in and take a bath. That was normal for me. I didn't realize how poor we were until I started going to Bidenfield. And then I began to see there was a big difference in the economies of people. And I began to see that people's parents were way different. And I began to see money. But once again, I grew up really, really poor. Now, when I say poor, let me really, really clarify that. Poor from a financial aspect. But in terms of intellect, I grew up rich. And one of the things that helped me succeed was I didn't know at the time Mr. Youngblood was a millionaire. Mr. Campbell was a millionaire. These are people that I spent hours with. I spent more time with Mrs. Youngblood than I did with Mr. Youngblood, his wife. And I spent a lot of time with Mr. Campbell, who would ask me these hard questions and direct me and challenge me. I didn't understand what was happening. That this guy owned a pharmacy and he took time out his day to educate me and to push me to a deeper level. I used to spend hours in the store, hours. And, I was exposed to wealth very, very early, and I was unaware it was wealth. I was just a kid. I didn't know what wealth was. I had no clue what it was. Now looking back, I can see why I am the way that I am. I was brought up by a lot of adults. I was brought up and I was mentored by a ton of men because I grew up in that era where single motherhood had just really begun. It wasn't a norm when I was a kid. Most of my friends had parents, both mom and dad, in the house. So I was the atypical child. But once again, growing up poor, growing up in a house with no running water inside, and I was able to grow up and create businesses and make millions of dollars. Capitalism works. The issue is, are you willing to work capitalism?